What happens when England reach a World Cup semi-final? But the biggest story isn't the victory itself. Instead, the spotlight suddenly turns to a growing tension between England's manager Thomas Tuchel and the man many consider the future of English football, Jude Bellingham. After England's dramatic extra-time win over Norway, Tuchel publicly criticized his team's performance. Bellingham responded. And now, one of England's greatest former players, Gary Neville, has stepped in with a powerful defense of the Real Madrid star. So, is this a sign of cracks appearing inside England's camp? Or is it actually proof of a team obsessed with winning? Let's break it all down. England are through to the World Cup semi-finals after battling past Norway in a thrilling 2-1 victory. But despite securing a place in the last four, Thomas Tuchel was far from satisfied. Speaking after the match, the England boss admitted he was unhappy with what he had seen from his players. According to Tuchel, England made life unnecessarily difficult for themselves. He described the performance as sloppy and suggested his side were fortunate to come away with the win. For many managers, reaching a World Cup semi-final would be enough reason to celebrate. Not for Thomas Tuchel. The former Chelsea and Bayern Munich manager made it clear that results alone are not enough. He expects more. He believes England can perform at a much higher level. However, while Tuchel criticized the display, he also praised the mentality and determination his players showed to fight back and get the job done. And that is where the story takes an interesting turn. When Tuchel's comments were put to Jude Bellingham during an ITV interview, the England midfielder initially responded with a brief but telling reaction. Whatever. Just one word. But later, speaking to the media, Bellingham expanded on his thoughts. The 23-year-old pointed out that Norway are not an easy team to face. He reminded everyone of the quality England had to deal with, including stars such as Erling Haaland, Antonio Nusa and Alexander Sørloth. Bellingham suggested that perhaps not everyone fully appreciated how difficult those conditions were. More importantly, he emphasized the importance of maintaining positivity within the squad. He praised his teammates and made it clear that winning football matches is not always about beautiful play. Sometimes, he said, you have to win dirty. It was a passionate defense of the players who had just fought their way into a World Cup semi-final. And it quickly became one of the most talked about moments after the game. That's when Gary Neville entered the conversation. The former Manchester United defender and England international made it clear whose side he was on. Neville praised Bellingham not just for what he said, but for the fact that he was willing to stand in front of the cameras and face difficult questions. According to Neville, too many star players avoid interviews when criticism is flying around. But Bellingham has done the opposite throughout the tournament. Whether England have won, drawn, or faced criticism, he has consistently spoken to the media and taken responsibility. For Neville, that matters. But it was his next comments that really stood out. Neville said it wasn't only Bellingham's words that impressed him. It was the look in his eyes. He described the midfielder as fierce, determined, and driven to succeed. Then came perhaps the strongest praise of all. Neville called what Bellingham is doing at the age of just 23 absolutely monumental. He highlighted the enormous impact the Real Madrid star is having, not only on England's national team but also on young people across the country and around the world. To Neville, Bellingham is already much more than just a footballer. He is becoming a role model. At the same time, Neville attempted to calm any fears about a serious conflict between player and manager. Reports have suggested that Tuchel and Bellingham have experienced moments of tension over the past year. But Neville believes those disagreements are being exaggerated. In fact, he argued that Tuchel would never consider leaving Bellingham out of the team. Why? Because Bellingham is simply too important. Neville went even further, suggesting that deep down, Bellingham probably respects Tuchel's honesty. The former England defender argued that elite sport is built on difficult conversations. Great managers push players because they believe more is possible. Great players demand recognition for the effort and sacrifices they make. Sometimes those perspectives collide. But that doesn't mean there is a problem. In Neville's view, it is often healthier than everyone pretending everything is perfect. And he delivered one final verdict that summed up exactly how highly he rates the midfielder. Jude Bellingham, Neville declared, is England's superstar. Now England's focus shifts to an enormous challenge. A World Cup semi-final against Argentina. It will be the latest chapter in one of football's most famous international rivalries. A rivalry that has produced unforgettable moments, From David Beckham's winning penalty in 2002 to the heartbreak of England's penalty shootout defeat in 1998. And with a place in the World Cup final at stake, the pressure has never been higher. As for the Tuchel-Bellingham debate, perhaps it reveals something important about this England squad. A perfectionist manager demanding excellence. A superstar player defending his teammates. Different perspectives. One shared goal. Winning. The question now is simple. Can that winning combination carry England one step closer to World Cup glory?